When I select movies, I try to stay away from anything too serious. That doesn't mean I exclude them. It's just hard to talk about serious subjects on a show where we once had a running gag about blowing a horse. My criteria usually revolves around presentation. I don't do any research until after I see the movie, in order to prevent any preconceived notions or expectations about what we're going to watch. No trailers, no reviews. I don't even ask my friends if they've even heard of it. Sometimes, though, the way something is presented isn't always what's expected. And we sure as shit learned that with this one. Join myself, Paul, and Charlie as we discuss Machine Gun Preacher. Who the hell writes things like this? Who's this guy? Why is he here? So we're just cutting to here now. Why not? They couldn't even write the animals well. How does that make any sense? How can he be there now? Like this? They'll just take her up. What's this guy? People act. Fuck me. What did I just watch?
Did you write the notes?
A lot of it is...
Are those the spark notes of the movie?
Well, at first he typed them, but then he has in the margins many scribbles.
Sparknotes.com/Machine Gun Preacher.
I have a lot of notes from a couple of articles, like a lot of quotes. And I do have my own thoughts on here. I just have to...
This movie was 2 hours and 9 minutes, which I thought
what was up with the length?
Pretty aggressive. The first thing I thought was they should have gotten Clint Eastwood to play the main character.
I think he was
Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino.
Right, yeah, just, hey, I'm gonna do some heroin, you know?
And just have constant disgusted looks on your face.
Yeah. Like, he goes over to Sudan and he's just playfully racist with everyone, you know? Like he was in Gran Torino. But it's just like, I'm gonna go shoot some people now, you know?
Was there supposed to be some theme where it said he wasn't racist anymore? Because his family seemed a little racist.
Yeah, they
like, those black babies are better than our... Oh,
yeah,
they're not black babies, they're human children. Yeah. You know that? They're human children getting killed.
Yeah.
I guess the phrasing is my problem.
I could have seen Russell Crowe playing this part, too. Like, him just flipping out at everybody. Oi! Hey, give me money! You know? Like,
come here, Tugger!
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you vagina! Give me some money! I hope Russell Crowe sues us one day. I really
hope everybody we've mentioned on this show sues us one day.
Like Chuck Norris, Russell Crowe, just one big class action fucking lawsuit. I think that'd be great. I got all my information from for this review from Infowars.com.
I think they're our sponsor today, Charlie, right?
Yeah, Alex Jones. We actually have Alex Jones in studio with us.
Well, hey guys, what is this all about? I mean, it's about conspiracy.
Well, we had a question for you, Alex Jones. Is it true that you're a complete fucking jerk off?
Not in real life, only on my television show that's kind of on MSNBC, but not.
Alex Jones, follow-up question. We do have evidence linking the fall of the Twin Towers to your small penis size. Is there a correlation?
Yes, absolutely there is. The crater is actually to scale with my penis, but it's in like a concave.
So invisible.
Concave penis.
Thank you, Alex Jones. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
All right, Alex Jones just killed himself. Let's all rejoice, shall we?
He fell down the giant pit of doom.
Of his concave penis.
Exactly. He doesn't exist anymore.
All right, but we should probably move on to Machine Gun Preacher. So, did you guys like it?
No.
Liking it is strange. No, I didn't like it, but it was something that was entertaining.
Here's the thing. Let's frame it this way. How did you guys enjoy your first Christian film?
Well, definitely wasn't my first.
Technically,
what the fuck have you been watching?
Who's the guy who plays Crocodile Dundee?
Paul Hogan?
Yeah, Paul Hogan did a weird religious movie where he was some dude. He's wandering through, and he
did you guys do? But we didn't review that one though.
No. How high did you have to be to watch a Paul Hogan religious movie?
It was in fucking middle school, I think, on some random day where we just showed movies all fucking day.
So that movie probably doesn't exist for the audience.
Oh, it does.
Paul was on a lot of LSD.
The guy who plays Casey Jones in the first Turtles movie, he plays some dude in a wheelchair. At the end, he somehow cuts his leg open on a bottle, and Paul Hogan's like, "Oh, you need to settle down. This is time for you to go to God." I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, this was
Call an ambulance!
This was totally a fucking fever dream. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember the movie.
If anyone knows the movie, post it on our Facebook page. We will give you a "What Did I Just Watch" T-shirt.
God damn.
Anyway,
pull that
Charlie, that means you got to get it printed.
That's right.
Also,
Well,
raise your mic a little bit.
We'll get you one. And PT. I mean, since we last posted PT, did anyone come up to you in Disney and smack you on the ass?
Smack me on the ass. Unfortunately, no. I really wish you guys did.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably like 90 something of you guys out there now that listen to this.
Yeah.
Maybe 100 something now, actually.
Yeah,
120.
we're certainly getting there. So I didn't like this movie. And the reason I didn't like this movie because with a name like Machine Gun Preacher, I wanted like an exploitation film almost. You know
Something
what I mean?
like Hobo with a shotgun.
And that's what the poster looks like. The poster has like Gerard Butler front and center holding a machine gun with all the shenanigans happening in the background, and it's almost like a Grindhouse type poster.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I picked this. Honestly, if I knew that this was going to be like this deep kind of fucked up movie about a guy who actually, I mean, I knew he rescued kids from Sudan because that was in the title, but I thought, given everything else about it, it was just a weird, cheeky thing. I mean, Machine Gun Preacher, that's literally something like what Paul said. It sounds
Like
too
Hobo with a
stupid
shotgun.
to be true.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be African Rambo, and I don't like he's fighting in Africa. for
Like
the record. Let me
Rambo
clarify.
3 of... Wasn't there like Afghanistan freedom fighters or something in that?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, I thought like I mean more in the style of not necessarily Rambo 1, but Rambo 2, 3, and the new one, where there's just a ton of action and just a lot of killing and violence and
Well, it was kind of a
You know,
good
and
amount of that.
There was a bit of that, though.
yeah. I mean, I thought it was just gonna pander to a certain type of crowd.
It did, Christians.
It did, yeah.
I mean, it's weird, though. The action scenes I thought they were decent, you know? They were fairly decent action
yeah, but
scenes.
there was too few of them for
I guess so.
a 130-minute movie.
A lot
there's
of God preaching, yes.
Plenty of dead children.
Holy fuck, there's a lot of
There
dead
are.
They
kids.
had
But, you
no
know,
problem cutting away from dead children, which is probably why.
I think they did because there was a point where they were like when there was those kids that were burned to death, the first group of kids, and they kind of focused on them, but it was completely out of focus shot because like all the heat waves from the fire were coming off, so you don't really see those.
Yeah, I bet you that was a mistake though. They're like, there's too much heat waves coming off the props. All right, so on the next one, when the kid loses his fucking legs, let's zoom in
Oh
really
my
close.
God, I can't believe they did that.
Like, yeah, now we have a budget, so let's just kill some real kids, okay? How many kids do you think he murdered? Like, the real guy?
Probably more than he thinks.
That's actually
Right.
a question some people ask. I mean, maybe not murdered, but there was a
Is there another word for murder?
there was a situation where a reporter was with him, and they came across this guy, and he saw this Sudanese child who was actually sick, and Sam Childers goes up to him, and I should say for the listeners, this is not in the movie. This is a real life account.
Yeah, this didn't happen in the movie.
So
And he sells him meth?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Breaking Bad, Sudan. So Sam Childers goes up to this guy and goes, "That child should be in a hospital." And gets really up in the guy's face, and he takes the child and takes him to a hospital. But it makes you wonder, if he's that type of person, if he exhibits that type of behavior, did he go up to some other parent and rip their child out of their arms because he thought they weren't doing the right thing?
I mean, he might have. He came across as a complete fucking asshole in this movie.
He definitely did.
Oh, he is. He did. Kind of. As far as the movie frames it, even everything that he does that makes him seem like an asshole, they still frame everyone else as being the bad guy. So even when he makes the wrong decision and you know morally what he's doing is not correct, they make everyone else say, you're doing that thing? You're a fucking freak. Fuck you. All you're gonna do is get people murdered. Which, by the way, is true. Everything that these other characters say is true. But they are so horrible. They're such caricatures that it makes Sam Childers seem okay by comparison.
Yeah, well, my favorite, like, I liked the church scene, like, the very first church scene when he finally goes to church, and, like, he's not wearing black anymore, he's wearing light blue.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we should probably introduce
Yeah.
Sam Childers.
Yeah,
to
do we want to,
the
does someone
audience.
want to take a stab at the plot here?
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to say that IMDb gives this a 6.8,
That
which I
seems
think
high.
is very high.
It's pretty generous.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 29%, which
Well, it's probably a little low.
but that's the critics. The audience gives it about a 62. And here's the thing that really blows my mind, where I can tell where a lot of the Christian audience comes in. Amazon.com, 4.5 out of 5.
Jesus, is this one of those things that like they think like that because that group of people specifically in the South, the ones that stick up for those Duck Dynasty assholes and all those types of people that they wear camo and they're just like, well, we just believe in God and you just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like they think we do get it, and you're just being assholes.
There's a part of that in here, but I think mostly it's someone with their values doing something good. That's one thing that we have to say going into this. What Sam Childers did in Sudan by setting up an orphanage and trying to save children's lives
and actually keeping military rebels out of the
orphanage area.
That was a huge thing.
That part is good. I can't really think of any other argument I'd have against that. That's great. If that's all he did was set up this orphanage and find all of these children and bring them in, I would have no problem with that. If that's all he wanted to relate, just say, hey, stay out of my private life. I don't really want people to know about what I did before because I'm a person going forward and this is what I'm doing. That's fine. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't do that. It really focuses on Sam Childers as the person. And, all right, whose turn is it this time to give up the plot?
Well, I guess it's not the plot so much as, let's talk about who he was at the beginning of this. He was definitely, the first thing you see is him being released from prison, right?
Yeah, he was... I don't know if they said where he came from in the movie. There might have been a problem with the actual gang. But he was a Hell's Angel, and he was in prison. He was released and immediately started doing drugs.
Yeah, he went crazy bender with what's his face, the guy who played Zod in the new Superman movies.
He goes crazy with General Zod, blows up Metropolis.
Yep, because billions of dollars in destruction.
I wish that happened. I literally wish that happened.
That would have been great if that happened.
That would be a decent movie.
Instead, they went on a heroin, booze, and other shit bender.
What they were trying to portray is him as the sinner.
Yeah.
And we should mention that this whole, out of a 2-hour, 9-minute movie, this goes on for about 25 minutes. His whole redemption arc, I should say. Because he starts out as a sinner, and you're supposed to see him say, oh, he really is bad. He was bad. This is a bad man. And it makes you think, for a person who's trying to portray how good he is, why in a movie that's trying to portray the things that Sam Childers would like everyone to know, they show a scene of him basically almost murdering a man.
I actually seriously thought he did murder the fuck out of that dude.
Well, he stabbed him a million times.
It was a throwaway line later where they were like, oh, well, he survived. It's like, oh, well, good thing they put that in there because that was a prison shank.
Yeah.
That's what they did. That's like what the fucking Aryan Brotherhood does. They go up to you and they stab you 27,000 times and rip out your intestines.
Now, in fairness, the man did put a knife up to his friend's throat and say, drive me to this place.
In fairness, they picked up a hitchhiker. What they expect?
Yeah, what
the
fuck
did
they expect? Yes.
But
one who looked like a junkie. Let's not cut hairs. I mean, I probably wouldn't have picked him up, but even if I did, I would probably say, okay, look, man, just don't hurt anyone. Tell us what you need. Not Sam Childers, who's like, fuck you, stab you in the face.
Stab.
He stabbed him quite a few times.
Yeah. So.
Then he dumped his body on the side.
But that's what I was going to say about the church. Is that was my favorite scene when they're like, all everyone that's sinned, raise their hands, and he's kind of looking around. You know what I mean? He's like very hesitant. I could just tell
though that he was going to be the last person to fucking go out.
Right? He's like, well, I did kill a hobo last night. Does that count as a sin?
Yeah.
It was so ham-fisted in there where it's like, I'm obviously a sinner. They're not talking about me. Oh, I better go up. And then it was like a light switch went off. And apparently this is kind of what happened in real life. He went there with his wife, who's an ex-stripper, which they...
Yeah, that was a really weird... That dialogue that before he found Jesus... He was like, you gotta go back to stripping. You gotta make us all the money. That was so...
He was a cartoon character.
That was exactly. That was straight out of a fucking Family Guy cartoon.
If Looney Tunes did meth, that's what Sam Childers was before he went to Sudan.
Thank you, movie.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
So he goes to church and he has this awakening within. And by the way, the one thing I do have to say about the wife is whenever she's on screen, she's not a person or a character. She's encouraging lines of exposition to get him going. That's all she's there for until the very end when they villainize her after she's been basically this only good guy throughout this entire fucking movie. For stuff that, like I said before, she was right about, because all the characters in this movie who go against him are right. But they are... I don't know. I don't know why they decided to go that way. But yeah, she says, go to church. You're going to have this awakening. And he's like, oh, I had this awakening. And then immediately he goes... and he has a vision from God, and he blueprints out the church he's going to build, and he blueprints out the orphanage he's going to build in Sudan.
There is nothing prompting him, aside from a scene in the beginning where it shows a kid killing his mother, that this is what he wants to do. That he was looking at the situation in Sudan and wanted to do something about it. There was nothing that said that. All of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere.
Well, there's a very good reason for that. You see, in the movie, they wanted it to be Sam Childer's idea, whereas in real life, it was this pastor. This was not his idea.
His pastor was like, "Hey, Sam, you should go to Africa and shoot some kids in the face."
There was one kid he shot in the face.
The former part, yes. The latter part, I'm pretty sure didn't come up in conversation.
That he just interpreted it that way.
If you came from that part of Pennsylvania, I'm sure you would too. It's like, hold on a second. You're saying I should go to Sudan? Yes. And shoot a man in the face. No, Sam. And shoot a man. Sam, I know that. And shoot it.
Help orphans.
We're gonna build a church. Shooting who? Yeah,
you can't build a church with bullets.
You can just shoot kids in the face, which I'm great at.
Wait, hold on a second. Can you build a church with bullets if you use a hammer, or will that set them off, killing children?
There's only one way to find out.
I thought that was a weird. So, and this is just being a Northeast asshole, I guess. But like when I think of Pennsylvania, I don't think like rednecks.
I definitely don't think of that. It's probably just it's just probably part of the United States that we don't think about.
Yeah, I think it's like southern Pennsylvania. I think that's where he came from.
I don't know.
Could be. Well, I mean,
northern.
So the wife and I watch a show called Banshee, which takes place in Pennsylvania. It's like Amish town, but there's like neo-Nazi rednecks there. That's a show that is just completely rewarding and filled with action. The guys that made Banshee should have made this.
They should have made this.
Yeah,
I'm already telling. I haven't seen this show. But
you know what, PT? Can you get the guys that made Banshee on the horn?
I mean, give me a minute.
I'm sure.
Up on my phone.
Just get Alex Jones to do it.
Hello. Hello!
Hello, I'm Alex Jones!
Are you the man who made Banshee?
Yeah. I done that.
Alright, then can you use Banshee to explain Building 7?
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
Perfect! Print it! So yeah, Sam Childers has this epiphany, and he goes to Sudan, and I can't remember what part came first, because he does do some just actual building and rubble removal, and that's
they establish that he builds the church in his town first, and then they do some blah blah blah, but then they cut to him going.
They do some blah blah blah. They do a lot of fucking blah.
There's a lot of blah blah blah.
A lot of blah blah blah,
buddy. But the blah blah blah. I mean, there's a lot of preachy stuff, the usual things you'll find in a Christian type movie. I can't really.
Well, it's Machine Gun Preacher, sinner.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
But can you tell we're not very religious, guys?
Yeah, we're not. But this guy was very fucking aggressive.
It was very strange.
With everything he did, he was very aggressive.
Especially for a movie with a message of peace, I guess.
No, the whole message of the movie was save the children, and it falls back on this message again and again, because when awful shit happens, that's the only card they have to play. It's like, why did you shoot that boy in the face? Save the children. I'm sorry, you have 2 mortgages out in your house. I can't give you a loan. Save the children.
So I feel like I do have to point this out. There's another female character that's in Sudan with him. This is a little later in the movie, but it puts a really good. She makes a fairly good point. She's basically saying she's looking down on him pretty much. There's a lot of like, I'm the woman, kind of shit. But she points out this thing. You're a mercenary, to Sam. He's like, he is a fucking mercenary. He may fucking deny it. That he's doing what mercenaries do. Second off, she points out that Coney, which is we've all heard of this Coney 2012 thing. This actually took place. This was made before.
Yeah, the movie was released a year before Coney 2012, which was the video that basically showed the child soldier thing. So, to his credit, he was fighting these soldiers who were enslaving these children.
Yeah, he was doing that
before it was popular, which he says over and over again.
She was saying that he did that too. Basically, what Sam is doing is he's trying to save these orphans as through any means possible.
Yeah,
one body at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's not okay. I understand he's not going to be a fucking warlord
in a world,
but that's like if he's doing something that didn't really work for a guy who eventually became a greedy fuck and obviously a horrible person.
Yep.
Obviously, some similar things could happen to you because that's just the human psyche.
We should probably tell people that, yes, he opens up this orphanage, and the way he defends it is one day he just picks up a machine gun and opens fire on the people shooting at him.
By the way, machine gun is such a outdated word for this. It is a rifle. It isn't an assault
It's
rifle.
it's
It is
an
an
AK-47.
47 might even be 7.4.
Right,
It
I
might be
feel,
a-
yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah. It's not a fucking Tommy gun.
A
A Tommy
machine
gun would
gun.
do more damage. That shoots 45s.
That'd be pretty badass
Pretty
if, he was,
sure it
if,
doesn't.
if he was Tommy Gun Preacher.
Listen, you mugs, we gotta save these kids.
Well,
see?
then he'd be using the language throughout the movie that he used in the first half. All of those fucking N-bombs that he was dropping, just like it was
It
nothing.
wasn't all of them, but there was definitely... like, are you sure you're not racist?
I was, but now I'm saving black people. The children, Paul, the children. You can't say anything against me because of the children that I'm saying.
But you still hate black people.
The children, Paul.
What about the black people in the United States?
Children, Paul.
Oh.
You mean Sudan American? They
Like, that's basically the rest of the movie is just him trying to find children, coming back to his family, which he basically ignores.
Oh, boy. I don't know what they should have showed a little bit more of his family and not just you're killing us. Fuck you, I'm gonna go away again. Boom, here I'm back in Africa again.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the humanizing bit, because every time he came home, his wife was like, no, you gotta go back there. You gotta go back and help those children.
Yeah, he was ready to give up at one point in the movie. I think it was after the kid he was in was it after the kid was killed in the minefield?
I think it's when they they took down the orphanage, right?
Yeah, that was the first time.
Yeah, and then
he
he
does it a
went for
couple
that.
of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's all she does. She's just inspirational words. That was her role throughout this entire movie.
Yeah.
A lot of the scenes revolved around, we found these children. Oh, we could only save some of them. Come back. Oh, they're dead.
I don't think a lot of them did, but I think it might seem like that.
There was at least 3 or 4 that I could
There
count.
was 2. And I think the actual situation like that and the one...
Or
that was
the
at
actual
end.
situation, but a lot of them were just like, something
We
happened.
found some kids.
Dead kid.
Other things here, there, yeah. There's a lot of that, a lot of the consequences. I mean, this movie didn't need to be 2 hours.
I mean, it was fine. Like, I actually commend movies when they go balls out with what they're trying to portray. But after a while, when you see Sam Childer's actions and just how he's kind of a douche, I don't know. There's not enough dead kids in the world that can make me like this.
Did you relate to him at all? Because that's kind of what you're supposed to do with these protagonists.
Right. No, you're supposed to be like, oh, that's our guy. We want him to win.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. I thought he was a fucking asshole. So
There's no way you can relate to someone
Yeah.
like that.
Let's list down our favorite hits. Charlie, what's your favorite Sam Childers as an asshole moment?
So, like, his daughter was like, "Hey, I'm your kid, and I want to get we're going to the formal, and we need to rent a limousine, and we're going to split it between 6 of us." And he was like, "No!"
There's babies
Yeah.
we can't feed in Sudan.
Yeah.
Why do you want these luxuries?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is his supposed dark moment. This is like the turning point in the film where you think he hits rock bottom and then he skyrockets back up, which, by the way, he doesn't really. What the movie does is they make him like an asshole, and then they turn him into a bigger asshole so that when he goes back to baseline, it seems like there's some improvement. So, Charlie, I'm glad you brought that up because guess what? I crunched the numbers.
Oh, we got a regular mathematician here
So-
tonight.
Yeah, this kind of
Yeah.
wise guy.
Okay.
Got all sorts of special guests tonight.
So yeah, he said there was 6.
Yes, there were 6 people. There were going to be 6 people splitting the bill.
Okay. For the
Okay.
limo.
Yes, for the limo. Depending on where you are, some limousines, and these numbers are coming from a bunch of different sources for 8-person limousines. So you can have up to 8 people, even though there were 6 going. Usually they go into the $400 to $600 range, it's about $100 per person. Now keep in mind, this is something that may only happen once or twice in her life. Now I understand that children dying in Sudan is horrible and that he's trying to scrimp and save every dollar to do this. However, that doesn't mean that it should be attributed to the things that are in a first world country. These things exist and we're not allowed to have it because, fuckface McGee just happened to be starving down the street. That means that we should never have good food because there are people starving in fucking Compton who can't afford, dinner with food stamps. It's not fair. And I'm starting to sound like this whiny brat, whichever Christian would be like, "Oh, you're just like them." Well, I'm sorry, these luxuries exist, and if we're not, I'm not saying she is owed this. I'm not saying she deserves this. I'm saying this can happen in a reasonable way, an experience that she can have, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And
So-
it's a small town in Pennsylvania too, so it's pretty reasonable to think it's on the lower end of that.
And it's
Yeah.
more than likely that's probably on the higher end, especially
Yeah.
at the time.
Oh yeah, I'm not even done.
Oh boy, buddy.
If we were to do Massachusetts during prom, which is a big time because I'm sure these limousine companies have sales, they have a prom sale for 8-person limo, $550. That is $91.67 per person. Now, these are prom specials, which means they will drop you off and then pick you up. But if you were to just use a base limo rate, we are talking... Now, hold on. I should preface this by saying this is assuming that you get to a prom and actually like leave maybe a little early, or you get to the prom late and leave a little early, because the minimum rental is usually 2 to 3 hours, so I'm going to do 3 hours. The rental for a limousine, an 8-person limo for 3 hours, is roughly $80 per hour, which means it's $240 per person. I mean, I'm sorry, not per person. $240 total, or $40 per person.
$40.
And let's also say that this didn't take place in the current times, which I'm assuming you...
This is around the time of Sam Childers. This is for nowadays.
Oh, what you looked up?
Yeah, this is for 2015. It might have been a little cheaper, maybe not much. Now, I want to emphasize those prices. Mm-hmm. Let's say the prom lasts from 8 to 11, because it won't go past 11. They get there late, let's say 9, just so that they have the limo there to take them home. Mm-hmm. The limo waits around for most of the time. All right, 3 hours. That's $40 per person. And Sam was like, "No, you can't have that." But what you might notice is that this costs less than the price of the ammo Sam has to purchase to actually kill people. And remember, I'm not talking about the defensive measures. Sam Childers goes on offensive missions, and not just to find children, but to find enemy combatants and kill them. For 1,000 rounds, and this is on the low end of what he'd have to bring for maybe one gun, because 1,000 rounds is up pretty quickly. These AK-47 will drain all 32 bullets in about 5 seconds if you just put on full auto. And these people weren't conserving ammunition. No. That 1,000 rounds of AK-47 cost $235. So he would rather spend that money buying rounds for his gun to kill people than he would to let his daughter take a limo to her prom. And that is what's wrong with this movie and how it's framing everything. It's saying that all these things that Sam are saying are right, and everyone else seems like whiny bitches, so that you don't think about how wrong it really is. Like, the whole movie is fine as a movie, but the second you stop and think, everything gets all fucky.
Yeah.
Well, was that the movie or the person, though?
I'm talking about the movie in particular, because I don't know if this happened to him in real life, but we'll get into the person. Okay. Oh, believe me, there's a lot to say, and I'm not going to condemn him or praise him. Probably more condemn him.
We are going to condemn him a little bit. He's a bit of a piece of shit.
Sorry, but again, as portrayed in the movie, this is how it went, and those are the facts.
So yeah, what part of the movie? I think we basically described the entire movie, because there's skirmishes when he's in Sudan. There's a couple interesting pieces of character stuff with the children. I kind of like the children, kind of like the soldiers that were protecting the children. It's just, how the fuck can you like this guy, this main character?
Well, that brings us to you. What is your favorite Sam Childers is kind of an asshole moment?
He basically he gets into a fight with his best friend, who's an ex-junkie. He is definitely off of it, but at any minute he could go back on that shit. But his buddy is trying to protect his family, by the way, who he says to protect the family while he's away in Sudan. And he's getting all up in his shit because he's like, "This isn't your family, this is mine." I'm like, you
ain't nothing but a stray dog around here, boy.
He has been there for his family more than Sam has. Right. So he goes on and fucking tells him to get out, because I believe he was living there at the time. Because,
yeah, he told him to live there.
Yeah.
And even that was actually kind of a nice scene where his friend doesn't know how to interact with his best friend's daughter, but is still trying to be a good person.
That was a very awkward scene, but I can get it.
But, in the end, she's like, do you want to read me a story? He's like, no. And my first thought was, I bet the motherfucker can't read. But then, they try to play the game that the father and her usually play.
It's a rhyming game.
Yeah, it's a good thing that she
I'm thinking of Orange.
Fuck you, Dad! So the game...
That's what he called her. He was just fucking trolling her from Africa, and she's like, "What, Dad? What do you want?" He's like, "I'm thinking of Orange." And she's like, "There's no word that rhymes with that, you fucking asshole." Yeah. You're such a dick. And he's just laughing and hangs up and shoots a kid in the face.
It was a kid with a scar, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So,
but yeah,
she says, "Well, my dad usually gives me a kiss on the forehead," and the guy actually, he's like, "Oh well, okay, I'll do that," and he tries, and it was kind of nice. He's trying not. It's awkward, but he's trying not to cross the the line that he shouldn't, and be respectful while still giving her the peace of mind that she needs. And yes, it was incredibly awkward because that situation is awkward because the motherfucker ran off to Sudan.
Well, can I just tell you this one thing? That when the scene you just described, in my head, I'm like, this scene could have easily been cut out of the movie, and it would still have the same effect on me.
That's funny. As much as we would like more development with the family or anything else, all the scenes could have been cut.
It's because they're written clunkily. They're written very, very clunkily. They just very obvious.
They just had Sam Childers shoot too many kids. So.
Did you know this was based off of a book? Like he wrote a book.
Yeah, it is. It's called Another Man's War. Do you guys want to hear some quotes from it?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
So these are Sam Childers' own words. Less talking and more shooting would bring this whole conflict to an end sooner and saves who knows how many lives.
That's not how it works.
That's so counterintuitive. More shooting and less talking would lead to saving more lives.
No, he actually said that in the movie too. He's like, this sitting in a back room and talking is not really going to get us anywhere when he's talking to the president.
All right, so you guys wondering exactly how he could justify his bullshit?
How?
So this is from the same chapter of the book. The important thing is to remember that it wasn't me doing all these incredible, even miraculous things. It was always God. You know, like pulling a trigger.
Yep, God pulled the trigger for me.
Now, let me be
Therefore,
clear.
it's not me.
When I accidentally shot that kid in the face, that was God.
Not me trying to protect all these people from a sniper.
All right.
Fuck's sake.
So we have been talking a lot about Sam Childers as the person, along with him portrayed in the movie, because it's hard to separate them. So let's focus on Sam Childers, the person. So
hang on a second before you say anything. I admire what he did for people. There was nowhere else for those children to go.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I said at the top of the show, but it's one of those things. I have an analogy for you.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what he usually goes by. He acts like he'll act like a dick, but then you'll say, "Oh, well, he saved a whole bunch of children," and that's true, and that's a wonderful thing. But it's also like a man that saves puppies from people who abuse them. However, he also grinds up kittens because cats reproduce at an alarming rate.
It's quite a simple analogy. I get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, yes, that's
I just
wonderful.
love cat sausage.
But that doesn't justify the other shit that you do, and you can't keep hiding behind it. This can't be your only excuse. Like I said, the scene where he's actually in the bank and yelling at the guy, just like, "You have to give me a loan. I need more money for this.
Boy.
I need 4,000." It's like
Speaking of awkward scenes,
he's showing him pictures of like the actual pictures that Sam Childers took. They actually put in the movie, and that the child with the missing arm, that's a real kid.
Oh my God!
And they were showing that to the bank guy, and it's like, honestly, if you're the banker in that position, it's like, look, no, I get it. This is horrible. However, there are 2 mortgages on your house.
Literally can't do it without losing my job.
You are literally just asking for money. You're not paying us back. You're just saying, "Give me money," because children.
That's not how banks work.
I mean, it sucks that you can't have the money that you want to give to people when you want it. But unfortunately, people are realistic in these types of situations.
They should have overdone it with the banker. They should have overdone it with everything. Like, he should have just been like, had a monocle and he's like, "Stocks and bonds, Sam." You know?
You think he should have been this like snarling beast the whole time? Yeah. We're gonna give you that money? That's our money.
Yeah. He's like, "Can't you help these kids?" He's like, "Fuck the kids. Stocks and bonds, Sam."
All right, so
but I mean, that's the ultimate gripe with this movie, is that it should have been an exploitation film, right? Like,
I think it actually would have made it more entertaining.
It would have been a good movie, I think. Like, if they just went over the top, and just fucking made it like he's.
You have to actually went with the Grindhouse style.
Quentin Tarantino, gallons of blood spraying everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing some crazy.
But he's
shit
going to Coney's fortress and getting all the kids himself.
Can you imagine how good this movie would have been if he was doing meth the entire time?
I was actually hoping when they were shooting up, I'm like, please let this not just be heroin like every fucking movie. Let them be addicted to meth or something, so they start like going really like crazy and speeding out. No, they were just heroin. Oh my God! And what was it? He was just like leaning back and just like looking at the sky and just going, "Oh, when he was on heroin." And he's like, "Oh, this is so good." And I'm like, that's
not how heroin works. Someone didn't see Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, how great would that? He was just doing meth. It turns out he was just in Pittsburgh the whole time. Like, he didn't actually go to Sudan. Just shooting everybody.
So, yeah, let's talk about Sam Childers for a minute. And by minute, I mean...
the whole episode?
Yeah. So this is
For 50 minutes.
This is a story from Sam Childers' own website, and I want you to tell me whether this frames him as a good man or a bad man. As we neared Numale, we began to relax, but we weren't out of danger yet. We'd rounded a corner and hurtled into a tribe clash between the Dinka and the Mahdi tribes. 4,000 fighters, armed with pangas, machetes, rudimentary bows, spears, and clubs, stormed back and forth looking for someone to fight. And amongst the drunks, I saw an elderly man poised for battle, and a young woman with a bow in her hand and a baby slung across her back. As the situation escalated, we had no choice but to lock and load. Shots were fired, and we drove through the screaming remnants of the violent mob. Luckily, no one was killed. Is he a good guy in this situation or a bad guy? I'd like to frame for the people who maybe don't understand what happened. Two tribes were about to go at it, and so this white guy rolls up with his crew and basically says, "Oh, this ain't right," and just rides down the middle of them, shooting into the air.
But it stopped, though.
In what I can only imagine is an old Cadillac with some bullhorns on the front of it.
I did a little bit of research into this, and apparently, yes, there is violence amongst tribes, but this had nothing to do with the LRA, which is Coney's army, also known as the Lord's Liberation Army, which was what he had a problem with. These are two conflicting tribes, which happen a lot, and yes, there can be violence, but that doesn't mean that you should go running down through them, shooting in the air, and then it being like, "Oh, well, good thing no one was killed," when it would have been your fault. No violence happened.
Except all those kids I ran them.
How the fuck did nobody die? Okay, hang on. Tons of people probably got really hurt.
It's like we can take a 2-minute detour, or we can just drive right through.
Yeah, you know, all right.
You guys want to know something weird?
What's up?
Sam Childers, whom this whole story is based on, shows screenings of a heavily edited version of the film in churches around the world. And I'm reading this from IMDb.
Boy, I wish we had a heavily edited version of this movie so we didn't have to watch all 2.5 hours.
I just want to show the hypocrisy of this. So it's okay if he shoots a bunch of people, but to actually put it in a movie is apparently distasteful. And I want to know if
what? Does he tell his parishioners what he did over there?
I want to know what they edited out. Was it just the language? I mean, were the F-bombs worse than Coney?
There was a lot of very graphic, like, there was limbs missing, children dead, and piles of children.
Most Christians won't watch these types of movies because they're too violent. So when you're trying to tell... But it's okay to bring up this stuff, apparently. So you can say, "I said it, I did it," but to actually show them is apparently a big no-no because, whoa, that's where we got to draw the line. It's like, why are you going to say... If you want to find this shocking and that's the whole point, then your whitewashing of it, your watering down is not going to help. All it's going to do is distance the people from it so they can say, "Yeah, that bad." Yeah, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, what's the point? I just... There was a couple moments in this movie where I just wish he was more volatile. Like, he was a pretty volatile character, right? Like, he was all over the place. But there's points where I just wish they just went all for it. Like, he's trying to show them baseball, and they start kicking it around like a soccer ball. And he was just like, "You motherfuckers!" and just starts, like, shooting everything, you know?
I thought he was going to hit them all with a baseball bat. Yeah. It's a machine gun preacher, not baseball bat preacher.
And I do want to say, he might have a darker side to him. Or maybe dark's not the right thing, but maybe he's so obsessed with this idea that he's willing to do anything. We've seen in the movie that he's actually willing to sell his business despite the fact that his family requires the money to live.
That's where I would kind of draw the line of helping out a lot of...
Yeah.
Like, if I can't make a living to support my theoretical family here, then I wouldn't sacrifice that much. Yeah. You kind of can't, or else what the fuck are you going to come back to?
That's just what the movie portrays. Imagine what he tries to do to get this money in real life. I'm going to read an excerpt from a Mother Jones article, which actually involves somebody who worked at...
Alex, is that your mother?
What?
Yup. It's my mama.
Oh,
she's good to me. She's a nun. Yeah. She's got a little fucky a little earlier in life.
This article is actually... This article profiles a New York Times reporter named Ian Urbina in the 2000 issue of Vanity Fair. And it's, quote, "It portrays Childers as a loose cannon who stockpiles weapons at his orphanage and moonlights as an arms dealer. Childers tells Urbina that he sold guns to armed groups in Rwanda and the Congo. Pressed where he gets his arms, Childers snarls at Urbina, 'You ask me another questions about the arms dealing, I'm going to throw you out of this car.
And that is where I lose all of my, he's doing good for children, he's doing good for this, that. Do you know what fucking goes, where those guns go? To kill children. Not just children, but, obviously not just children, but other people.
Yeah, in case you forgot where Rwanda...
Good people.
In case you forgot where Rwanda was, it was that place where that hotel was.
Yeah.
That awful hotel where people died.
I don't know if people know what genocide is, but that was mass genocide.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And more
what an asshole. So he was an arms dealer. So why isn't he a international criminal?
We should say allegedly.
Yeah,
because this is all with conversation. It's hard to substantiate these things.
Okay.
And just there was a 2011 raid on his. I think it was 2000. It was either 2000, maybe it was 2014. But there was a raid on his apartment as a part of an investigation to try to connect him to gun smuggling. They didn't find anything at his apartment, but it still makes you think, if this is just the shit that I found from like a couple of articles, what did the FBI know? What were they going off of?
There must have been something.
They must have known that there was something going on at those orphanages.
Yeah. And
the orphanage.
I usually don't like a lot of allegations and speculations, but...
Speculations.
I like my word better.
Okay,
Fuck
speculations.
Yeah. But there's... And then a lot of the articles I read were a lot of he said, she said. But there's a point where when I see him as a person... And again, I just want to emphasize that I believe that he believes what he's doing is good. I just think that he's willing to either... ignore the terrible parts, or he's just not willing to talk about what he has to do to get them to work.
He's really all about the ends justify the means.
Yes.
He's like the epitome of that phrase.
Yeah, but that's not... that's not always okay, right?
No. It's not. No, that's the point.
He seems like a pretty intense dude.
Yeah, and more from that article, Childers has also been denounced by aid workers, the kind who don't carry submachine guns. The humanitarian aid blog Tales from the Hood dubbed him a douche nozzle, explaining that every time he fires off a few rounds, for the children, he further cements in the minds of insurgent groups around the world that humanitarian workers are also mercenaries. So yeah, he may think he's doing good, going around rounding up the bad guys and taking them out cowboy style, but all he's doing is saying to the enemy is like, hey, when you see these humanitarian workers, you can't trust them, so kill them. And that's a problem.
That's a huge fucking problem.
Yeah, it's an issue.
There's also the fact that in an expose by Christianity Today, he may not even be claiming that the people that he's working with actually work with him. According to a letter obtained by Christianity Today, dated April 8th, 2011, Lieutenant General Obatu Mamour Mete told Childers that he had become a problem and urged him to stop using the names of our authorities, the SPLA, which is who he was fighting with, me in particular, to manipulate your wrongdoings.
So was it just those two guys that were in the movie that were on his side?
That's the thing. You find back and forth. Apparently, there was some also neglect in the camp.
You're fucking kidding me?
The camp.
In the orphanage?
I meant to say orphanage.
For fuck's sake. How do you not have oversight for that?
Yeah.
Whoa, because it's in fucking Sudan!
According to the same article, Matthew H. Wilson, who is an American doctor, said no adults, including Childers, were at the orphanage when his team visited in 2009.
Oh my God.
But that they left medicine and antibiotics with clear instructions how to administer them. But when they returned 2 days later, none of the medicine had been given to the children. Yeah, now that is a problem. However, then Childers places the blame on another guy who I forgot to write down, and then that other guy puts the blame back on him. So it's this whole skirmish of, well, was Childers there, and was he doing the neglect, or did he put someone else in charge and that person was neglectful? Because he did fire someone, and I don't really have.
If he could fire them, then he was the administrator, and therefore it is his fucking fault.
Even if that other person did wrong, he should have taken it upon himself and said, "Look, this guy did it, but I'm taking the responsibility." He needs to own up to it.
Right. Well, I don't think he's the type.
You think?
No, he killed a hobo and justified it in a movie. So I was looking at my notes, and my notes don't really say anything interesting. It's like, oh, look, holy shit, an action scene, or oh, good, some more parts where they're talking a lot. But there was one about I wrote, the Thing singing Amazing Grace is terrible.
Oh my God, that little girl!
Yeah.
That little girl, her notes were falling flat.
Oh my God.
I don't actually remember this part.
Please tell me this wasn't.
It was
Sumi's child.
what's his face's funeral. His buddy.
Oh, all right.
That was the thing.
Oh, then he
His
started caring.
yeah, but I actually I didn't finish that because his buddy he kicked his buddy out and his buddy fucking died of a heroin overdose. His fault. If he didn't kick his buddy out, then I don't care if he didn't kick his buddy out
Or
then his buddy
answer the
wouldn't have
phone when his
relapsed.
buddy called.
Or answer the fucking
Or that.
phone.
I don't know, but you guys want to get to some 1-star reviews?
Yes,
I
I
do.
do. I do.
Okay. Slow without enough machine guns.
Well, but nail in the head, right?
Not good. This is not a family movie.
No shit.
Not worth the time, money, or effort. Don't waste your money. Even my dog disliked it.
Who thought Machine Gun Preacher was a family movie?
I don't know, but this guy apparently took exception. Can't they make a movie with a cleaner PG-rated script?
Called Machine Gun Preacher?
Yes.
No. I'm sorry, anonymous internet man who's probably a Christian. No.
There were a lot of Christians, most of which that were taking... I mean, there were, out of 602 reviews, there were only like 22 one-star reviews, but most of them were like, I can't believe the language in this movie. It's like, well, he did that. What do you want?
You saw that kid get his legs blown off,
It's
right?
like, it was too violent. It's like, it's called Machine Gun... I honestly don't know
It's
what
also
these
rated
people
R,
are-
right?
Machine Gun's in
Very
the
much-
title.
It's a hard R.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you have... These are the people, like, they don't tell us enough, then we tell them, and they go see it anyway. It's like, why the hell is this all here?
Because their fucking preacher heard of Sam Child who's doing so much good in Sudan, and they said everybody in this covenant needs to fucking go.
I just don't know how somebody could take a plot that involves children being murdered in a war zone and a man who's willing to shoot them, or not the child, well, one child, the man who's willing to shoot the opponents and make it a PG-rated script.
There's no way that can
What are they
happen.
expecting? Like Sam Childers be played by John Wayne and people just grab their chest and fall over?
Right.
All right, I think we exhausted this film. You guys ready to pick the next one?
Uh-huh.
And I admit, I stacked this a little bit, hopefully in the movie I Want's favor, which I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to go.
Yeah, well, maybe we can not get a drama this time. It's going to be like Sophie's Choice.
If it is a
Schindler's
drama,
List.
if it is a drama, it must be horribly made.
Okay.
It must be. Oh, it
Like
must be
The
tasty.
Baby.
I make no
Like the
problem.
baby. It has to be the baby.
Was The Baby a drama?
I think so. Wasn't
I
it?
think it was like a half horror film. It's like-
Oh yeah.
or
yeah.
a thriller or something. That
Yeah.
was fucked up.
That was pretty bad. Baby was pretty bad.
All right, so here are your three choices. The first one is Bruiser, a George Romero movie without zombies,
Uh-oh.
I think. I mean, a man with no face sets out to destroy those who betrayed him, so who knows.
Okay.
All right.
The second one is called The Returned, also having to do with zombies. Zombies can be turned back into humans, but a drug that does it is in short supply, so it becomes a zombie flick. And the last
Sounds like a pharmaceutical movie.
movie, Wolf Cop. It's about
I just jizzed a little.
it's about a drunk cop that is transformed into a werewolf and
And?
uses his powers to fight evil.
What? Do we have years on any of these?
Most of them are pretty recent, except for Bruiser, which is a Romero. I'm going with Wolf Cop. Charlie, what are you going with?
I think it's going to be pretty unanimous across the board.
I tried to make it.
I'm going to go with Wolf Cop.
And Paul? How about
I
you?
am also gonna go with Wolf Cop.
Yes! I really wanted to see this movie. And while the other two I do want to get to, and I thought they were good competitors, fucking Wolf Cop.
How do we go from Sam Childers, a very, very serious... I think this has probably been our most serious
It
discussion.
was pretty serious.
to Wolf Cop.
Only on What Did I Just Watch, huh?
Love this show.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. Until next time, just take the pizza and get the fuck out of my house. That's it for now. Catch more episodes on iTunes or Stitcher. If you prefer to listen to podcasts on YouTube, we're there as well at the Some Jerk from Boston channel. Have any comments, recommendations, or just some good old-fashioned hate mail? Email us at wdijwpodcast@gmail.com. That's wdijwpodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/wdijwpodcast. You can find me on Twitter at SomeJerkFB or on Tumblr at somejerkfromboston.tumblr.com. Until next time, saving black children by shooting black men somehow makes sense in our fucked up world.
You can even be white and apparently it's not racist. Adios for now.